Hello and welcome to Creatives Like Us, where I speak with creatives of colour who share journeys and stories and ideas and how they can inspire and open up avenues in creative industries. I'm your host, graphic designer Angela Lyons, and with the help of my guests, I will bring you insightful interviews and compelling stories that can inspire you to think about things differently or shape your next move. Being a creative of colour can bring its challenges, highs and lows and in-betweens. But this podcast is about amplifying our voices and celebrating together. So, are you ready? Let's get started with Creatives Like Us. Hi, Kala, and welcome for joining me today on Creatives Like Us. Can you introduce yourself to tell people who you are and what kind of creative are you?
So my name is Kala Paul-Worika. I am a freelance journalist, but I am also a maker and designer. I founded my business by Kala X, which is, I would say, Afro-chic interior and clothing design, so made from vibrant African fabrics.
I'd just love to know, how did you actually start your business?
In terms of my business, I started it because I've always grown up with the fabrics. Like my background is Nigerian. My parents are from Nigeria. Growing up, we always wore the fabrics. They were very, keen for us to be aware of our culture. We used to do parties so differently back in the day. I think every weekend we'd go to a family party or celebration and everyone would be wearing head to toe in African print. And I've always loved it, but as in it has at times felt overwhelming. So in terms of me loving it, but wanting to bring it to everyday life. And I think when I had my kids, because I would say they're of mixed heritage, so their dad is Jamaican. So I wanted them to be able to appreciate it, but not for it to be overwhelming as such. So initially I just started making baby clothes and cushion covers, giving it to friends. Lots of friends were having babies as well, so I'd make bibs and give it to them. And yeah, it was more of a side hustle at that time. In fact, to start off with, I was just doing it and just giving it as gifts. And someone was like, have you ever thought about selling your stuff on Etsy? So that's how it started. I was working for the Media Eye. I was editor there. So during the day, I'd be doing all the editor stuff. And then I'd come home and I'd be sewing. And I gave one of my colleagues for the Secret Santa a cushion cover that I'd made. And she was the one that was like, oh, have you thought about selling this on Etsy? So in terms of the business being created, I would say that was probably when I looked at it as a possibility to actually make money. Because before it was just a relaxation from the stress of the day job. After that, I started listing things on Etsy. I would say I focused more on the clothing side, first kids wear, then adult stuff and the home interior. And when I had my son, who's now 7, and I was on maternity leave, I thought, let me focus on it properly. Let me see where I can take the business if I'm like going to markets, really promoting it. And so from then, I would say that's when I really started to focus on the business. And I've been freelancing on and off for, I don't even know, forever. But
when you say freelance, is that your the journalist day job or your actual?
Yeah, so at the moment, I would say one of my main jobs is feature writing for the Guardian Labs. So that's their sponsored content.
Oh, nice.
And any other freelance jobs that come along. I always joke that I'm not the best freelancer because I don't like really seek too much work. So,
yeah. Does it come to you then?
Well, I'm lucky enough that it enough does come. And I think because I've got the business, I'm not, when I don't have too many commissions in terms of freelancing in the journalism, then I'm focusing more on the business and vice versa. Some months I'll go months without writing anything and I'll just be focusing on the business. And then some months it'll be really busy with the business and I'll be asked to write 3 800-word articles.
Yeah.
And, it's how things are. And it's allowed me to express that creative side of myself through the business. And also, I'm a mum of 2. So It
Yeah.
enables me to be around for the kids and just to do the whole mum life
Yeah.
juggle.
Yeah. It's interesting because when I first approached you to come on the podcast, I initially thought it was just your the designs by Calex. And I didn't know that you were a journalist because, as
Yeah.
you said, you don't really share that as much, but I would love to see your
No.
work. So it's so if people wanted to see more of your journalist work or commission you, would that be on the Guardian Labs, or do you have a website that you promote all your work on, or?
I don't have a website. I do have I think the reason why you didn't know is because I have two separate Instagram
Ah,
accounts.
okay.
Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
my journalism account is it's called The Media Mummy, because I
Right.
used to work for the Media Eye, which is a contacts and events listings directory. So while I was working there, I think I must have created my Instagram account, and I was blogging also a lot at that time, taking my kids to all the film launches and any kids focus or family focus thing I would take them to, and I'd write about it in my spare time as well for my blog. So I've just kept the name, but it's slightly because my background is showbiz journalism.
Fantastic.
I
Is that fantastic, or was that a lot of late nights or early
mean,
mornings?
this is the thing. It was a lot of late nights, and when I was so I started off like the traditional way with my journalism. I did the course, I did the training at a local paper, Barking and Dagenham Post. I
Yeah.
did
Mhm.
my years of training there. I did everything, attending the council meetings, going on with the police to like drug raids and things like that.
Oh
I
my
did
gosh.
everything. So
Yeah.
court reporting, etc. But it was there that I recognize that I've always loved like the theatre and going to shows. So I would always put my hand up to go and review shows and stuff like that. And then when people are coming to the area to perform at the local theatre, I'd love to go and interview them. And I guess that's where I pushed my love of entertainment and showbiz. So
Mhm.
when I went on to another local paper, but when I left there, I did a few other things, but ultimately I decided to go freelance. And my first like freelance jobs where I went into shift was at the Mirror on the 3 a.m. page.
Oh
So
yeah, that's quite a
yeah,
famous showbiz page, isn't it?
yeah. So that was like,
Was that fun or tough or both?
it was fun I think when you're like child free and you're just like, it's like, for me to tell people, they'll be like, oh my gosh, that's so like crazy and that's so amazing. And it was, there were definitely aspects of it which I loved. You go to the showbiz parties and you'd like, but I feel like it was very different to how it is now, because I could go to a party and I'd be sitting with an A-lister and you'd be able to have a conversation with them. But now I don't think you'd be able to have that access to celebrities and
Mm.
the way parties are formatted.
It's very, very constructed now, isn't it? And I suppose people have certain things and certain promotions. I don't know. I'm just thinking about, I'm sure the construction of it now is like promotions and people saying, oh, you can't talk to them unless you're part of this or this, that, or the other. Whereas before, stars mostly just rocked up.
Yeah, I think a lot of the time, I used to always say that it wasn't the celebrities that didn't like to give you access to them. It was more their like publicists or their
Mm.
PR that was just a bit like, hold on, who are you? you know,
Yeah.
and that was part of the game. Like you had to get to that person before the publicist like stopped you.
Make conversation
Uh,
in the toilets. Come
yeah,
on, let's go.
it, exactly. Like as in, and the reason I say things have changed, we don't smoke inside anymore. I'm not a smoker.
Right.
And that's the thing, I'm not a smoker, but some of the best stories I've got have been hanging out in the smokers area, because that's where like some of the celebrities will be chilling
Yeah.
but yeah, it's very different.
So no more
Yeah.
showbiz at the moment.
Not at the moment. I would say, in terms of describing what I do, I would say more feature writing. I'm happy to interview celebrities, but I don't really go to showbiz events anymore. If someone wants to invite me, I can go.
You'll go. But I'm not writing about it. I'm just going to chill out.
But yeah, I feel like my lifestyle has changed. And like you said, it's late nights, early mornings. When I used to, for the London paper, I don't know if you remember that. That used to be a free paper on the
The
tube.
London paper. Like the Metro.
Yeah.
What was it called? The London paper?
Yeah, it was called the London paper, and it was like the deadline for publishing was really early. So I'd go out late at night and I'd have to be in the office really early to write up my copy. These were the days before it would be the norm to send through your copy from home, or you know. Yeah, but it prepared me for motherhood. That's why I always say.
That's such great preparation, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's only the late nights and early mornings and anything in between.
Yeah, I'm not even joking. As in, when I had because I think, so when the London paper closed, I was pregnant with my daughter, and she's 14 now. And yeah, I was just like,
I've got this.
Yeah, it just didn't feel like anything different, operating on a couple of hours of sleep. And it's not amazing, but I was just like, this is just very similar to what I've been doing for the last couple of years. So
just out of interest, and also just because of what the nature of this podcast is, how did you get into journalism? Was it literally cold calling, and how did you feel when you stepped into certain rooms and certain places?
Yeah. So I've always enjoyed writing, and I've always been told that at school, your daughter writes so well. And initially, me being me, I was like, yeah, my handwriting is really nice. Thanks.
Looks like pretty.
Yeah. I was like, thank you. But they actually meant in terms of like how I write, how I express myself. And to be honest, it was only my last year at university that I decided I wanted to do journalism. Because, as I said, I've always loved the theatre. I've always loved drama. I thought I was going to be an actress. I was
really
on the stage. I love my music, and I thought I was going to be a star.
You are a star. You are a star.
And I have traditional Nigerian parents, and it was always, whereas they supported my love of theatre, I would say. I was part of Hackney Youth Theatre. My dad would take me to things like that, so that it would encourage me to pursue the things that I enjoyed. But in terms of having it as a career, I'm not sure that was not on the list. Like, the list was doctor, lawyer, accountant, engineer.
Teacher.
And that's another, like, when I finished university and I'd done drama and English, and there was no job, my dad was just like showing me all these possible jobs, and he's just like, what about being a teacher? As in, he was just like, anything, just do anything type thing. But yeah, I always loved theatre. I did performing arts at college, but English as well. I've always loved that sort of expression through writing. But I've never said, I don't particularly want to write a book or be an author. That's not what I wanted to do. But yeah, at university, I think I did a magazine with the Afro-Cab Society. We had our magazine that we created, and that just made me decide that actually I do enjoy writing.
You enjoy it, yeah.
Yeah. So after university, I did drama in English. So I did a course in journalism, like a 20-week course. So you learn about the law aspects. You did T-line, shorthand.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. What else did I do? Yeah. There were probably other things, but it was a long time ago. But it was like a 20-week course, and it's NCTJ accredited, which is the National Council Training for Journalists, I think. The idea is that you continue your training on a local paper, or I guess if you're lucky enough, a national paper.
A national one,
and then you do other exams during that. Yeah, after that, I applied for local newspapers around the country, actually.
Oh, really? You were ready to travel?
Yeah, I definitely remember getting on some trains to go to interviews. So, and the one I got was Barking and Dagenham.
Oh, that was handy because you're in East
Yeah,
London. Is that right?
it was, but it was a very different place at the time. They were getting a lot of people coming in from, what country was it in particular? It may have been Africans coming in at the time. And so there was a bit of tension. Maybe I shouldn't say a lot
What do you
of.
mean? What do you mean coming in?
I
Sorry.
say, I think,
What, into the UK or into the
I
newspaper?
don't know
Or?
whether, I'm trying to think why it was changing so much. I think, when you go further out of London, there was a
Yeah.
time when it would just be like East Londoners and,
Oh, right. Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's a bit
Sure.
like in Leighton as well. At
Yeah.
one point, there was an influx of creatives that are
Yeah.
just like buying the houses because they're cheaper and they're having their
Mhm.
families. And I think in Barking and Dagenham, maybe the councils had to accommodate more people that were maybe just deciding to live in this country.
Mm.
So the makeup of the area, maybe that's what I should say actually, the makeup of the area was going through a change. It was becoming more diverse. And I guess if, you're white English, you've lived in East London or Essex for your whole life, and then suddenly you're seeing all these different faces coming in. And as one person commented on the fact that I had such a good job and I looked like this, but they didn't say it like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I think, so we get a lot of calls, people calling up, my mom hasn't had hot water for 5 days or whatever. You need to write about this. And I was speaking to the guy on the phone. I was like, yeah, this sounds awful. Spoke to the mum, was lovely, a really old woman. And this is, my memory is not that good as I get older,
No
but this
worries.
is one of the things I
Yeah.
remember.
You remember that one?
And the guy was completely fine with me on the phone. And I guess maybe in the way I talk, you have no idea whether I'm black, brown, whatever on the phone. So he was talking to me fine. So you've got to come round. You need to come round and see it and speak to my mom, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, book the photographer. We went round to the house. Literally, the guy opened the door and you could see in his face that he was surprised. He was surprised to see that I was a black person, and which is fine. And I
Yeah.
wasn't by
It
myself.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't like scared or anything for my safety. I was just like, whatever. It's not the first time it's happened. Went in, sat down. Mother was like this old woman. She was lovely. I was speaking to
Mhm.
her. And then the guy just made this comment, you've got quite a cushy job.
Oh.
And it just felt a bit like, okay,
What, that you don't deserve the job?
you can read it however you want to read it. But that was his comment. And yeah, for me, there are a few things that I wouldn't say I ever experienced outright racism at the
Mhm.
time, but there were definitely times when it was a bit like maybe people were a bit surprised that I was in the role. I think I may have been the only black person on the reporting team. Yeah, and it's been like,
Mm.
I wouldn't say it's always been like that, but even when I went to the nationals, I would definitely say when I was out and about, sometimes I would be confused for the other black
Oh,
showbiz
yeah.
journalist. You know what I mean? So that
Yeah.
was, I would say that's towards the beginning of
Yeah.
my career, like when I was starting out on the nationals, because now as the time progresses, there's quite a few, like there's loads of black
Yeah.
showbiz
It's
female
changed. Yeah.
journalists, and it
Mhm.
has changed, but it's not. There have been times when I have been the only black female for sure, but maybe even the only black journalist in the room or in the environment. And
Yeah. Actually, speaking of that, did you ever join We Are Black Journos? The organisation.
no, I feel like I don't know when that was set up, but
Uh-huh.
it's not something that I've
You never came
even
across
heard
it.
about, to be
Yeah.
honest.
I only
So,
heard about them, I think maybe about 3 years ago. Is it 2 or 3
okay.
years ago? But no, I'd never heard of them, but I thought maybe you had. But we have to talk about your other business. your, what do you say? What do you call it? The actual, is it called?
I call it the brand is Kala X
Mhm.
because everything is made by myself and it's made with love. That's why I have the X on.
Oh, was that
Although
the
I've
X?
Yeah, although I've debated taking it off the X because sometimes I get called Calax. And I'm like,
And you know what? I did see it and I thought, oh, isn't that thing? And I'm not judging you. I'm not taking the mickey. But I thought, that's the name of the cupboards in IKEA, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So sometimes I'm like, I feel like I should take it off. But when I was younger, I'll tell you a story. When I was younger and I used to practice my showbiz signature.
Of course.
I used to do Kala with a star on the
Oh,
end.
yeah.
So joining up the star with my name. And then that changed into with a kiss, like an X on the end. And to be honest, it's actually really weird because I'm not really that type of person. Like I don't sign off every conversation with a kiss anyway. So that's not me, but I just liked the way it looked.
Yeah.
And for me, in terms of the brand, it's trying to say that everything is made by myself and it's made with love. It's made, with a little part of me.
That's really lovely. What are you actually up to at the moment? Because obviously I have met Kala at a workshop and I made a wreath. It was lovely. It was just before Christmas and I've still got it hanging up on my front door.
That's
so
good.
It's really lovely. It's funny because my daughter said, oh, you're not going to take it down. I was like, no, it's just so colourful and it brings a bit of colour to the house. So more colour. So let's keep it up.
No, I like that.
So what kind of creative projects are you working on at the moment? Because it's been great discussing your journalism and where you've come from, but what are you actually working on right now?
So at the moment, in terms of the business, so By Kala X is a clothing and home decor brand. But what I try to do is I always try and use up all parts of the fabric. Like you said, I met you at a workshop where it was a rag wreath workshop. The reason I started making the rag wreaths is because I wanted to use up aspects of the fabric, bits of the fabric that I use day to day.
And were they leftovers?
Yeah, so that it's all off cuts of the fabric. So basically, whenever I wear African print, I tend to wear it with denim. So for me, I like the idea of combining the two, hence why I started to do the upcycled denim in terms of the circular economy, just making sure that there's no loose ends, like I'm using up all the fabric, I'm not discarding things. I started to do upcycled denim. And at the moment, the project I'm working on is a new collection of upcycled denim. And I will be doing the launch February 27th, I believe. It's a Thursday. So basically, everything is like one of a kind pieces. I'm like either thrifting it, I'm like looking on Vinted, eBay, getting the denim. And then,
so you're actually using upcycled denim too. So denim that's been used before and then you're repurposing it. Oh, brilliant.
It's like saving denim from landfill. Using up the offcuts that I have in the studio. Yeah, I think I initially started doing it maybe a year or 2 years ago, and it's been really popular, but it is quite time consuming because and I don't list it online because it's all like one of a kind pieces. And so I think I had a conversation I put on Instagram asking people like, how do they want to have access to it? Because my ultimate goal is not to do as many markets. Like I really need to reduce on the markets that I'm doing. A lot of people said that they would come along to an open evening. Yeah. So that's my main focus at the moment, I would say. But I'm also, I guess the difference between when I first started the business and now is I'm much more organized in terms of I launch collections and everything happens at a certain time. Whereas before it'd be like, oh, I like that fabric. I'm going to make a top. I'm going to make a skirt out of it. And I'm going to make a lampshade out of the very same fabric. Which was a bit mad. It wasn't organized. And then I go back to the place and there wouldn't be the fabric left anymore. So now it's a bit more organized. And so I'm in the process of preparing for another photo shoot to just update my collection that I do have.
Do you have a website? I'm sure
I do have a website.
Notes. Yeah. So you've got a website for your Calax X. So
Yeah.
if you say it out, and then I'll also link in the show notes and people can go and have a look and purchase online too. Yeah. So if you can you let us know the
So
website?
it's basically buycalax.com.
Oh, brilliant.
Very, very simple.
Nice
And
and simple.
yeah, just always trying to keep it fresh, and I guess working towards markets. I'm forever saying that I'm going to do less markets because
Is it just to meet people, or is it just you think, oh, you can't say no, and then you think, oh, that's a good opportunity, or is that why you keep on going?
I think it's always that belief that this is the one that is the one that you need to be at. And also it does help raise your profile. And in terms of me pushing my workshops, that is something that I want to do more of this year. And sometimes it doesn't matter how much advertising you do. It's only when you meet people in person and you're like, oh, I do workshops. And then I've never heard that you did that before. But in terms of the juggle, and I know I look so young, but
You are. You do.
The markets exhaust me, as in it's hard work in terms of, you organize a childcare, you pack everything up, you get to the market, you unload everything, you set up. And then if you've been blessed with a good day, then maybe it will go by fairly quickly because you're serving customers and talking to other storeholders. But then other days, the customers are few. You're there for
Right.
I don't know, 6 hours. Yeah. And then you pack up again and you've paid.
I was going to say you must pay, and does that feel quite demoralising? And thinking, why am I doing this? And do you want to give
It
up?
can
And just
do. It can do. And I think it's only been the last year or two that it's really it's started to be more occasions where I've struggled than I haven't. And I think that's a result of the financial climate. And and the things I sell, the price point, it's not all of it is particularly, it's not, oh, I'm just going to treat myself type thing. It's an investment piece for your home.
Yeah.
In general, people don't buy a lampshade as a spur of the moment thing. It's more,
It's
it's quite
considered, isn't it?
measured.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this going to fit in with my decor at the moment? And I get that. And most of the time, people, maybe they would buy it and then they'll think afterwards, is it going to fit in? But now it's more like, is it going to fit in? Oh no, I'm going to go away and think about it. And
Yeah.
then if it's luck, they will come back and they'll
They'll
buy it
come back.
online.
Yeah.
But now, like I said, it's just more, everything is a bit more considered, I feel. Year on year, like Christmas has just been a bit harder each year. And it's been hard. And I think the way I'm trying to accommodate that is by changing what I'm offering. Since last year, I've been focusing a lot more on workshops because I do think people are more interested in an experience.
Yeah, and creating something themselves instead of just getting it in front of them. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
Do you know what? It's interesting that the reef workshop, I loved it. And I could see if you go into even corporate settings, I could see that people would enjoy some of that time out because it was quite therapeutic because you had to just think and not think so much, not concentrate so much, but look at the colours and how you're going to make it and put it together. And it's just quite a calming experience. So maybe, and also you get to chat around the table. It could be like a team building experience too, I'd say.
Yeah, I've definitely been pushing it in terms of I've had conversations with corporations and last year I actually got the opportunity to take the Reef Workshop into a school. And that was a school in Hackney as well. And I'm from Hackney originally. And for me, that was definitely, it's just one of those things that made me so happy. I can't even, I don't think everyone would always understand the level of happiness I got from it, because we talk about these people that we see that are going to allow us to believe that we can do these things as well. And I think growing up, maybe I didn't have enough of those people, seeing them and thinking, yeah, I can do that. Why wouldn't I? Why do I even have to
Think about
say
it.
such
Yeah.
a sentence. It would just be like, well, these people are doing this job. Of course, I'm able to do that too. So
Yeah.
for me, when I was asked, I was just like, even before we spoke about payment, I was just like, yeah,
So, no question. No. All right,
yeah.
don't forget though, you've got to answer the
Yeah.
payment bit though. But yeah.
I feel it's so important that
Yeah,
we
sure.
do need to go into these spaces and
Mhm.
and show ourselves, like, even if there's definitely days that I do not feel like I'm achieving, but I'm definitely gonna, if I can, I'm gonna show up and I'm gonna show people that. And I'll be clear, I'm gonna show Black girls from
Yeah.
Hackney
Yeah.
that they can
Mhm.
achieve.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
that's really important to me,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. That's really nice. And also you gave back to, and I know you got paid, but it's actually,
Yeah.
as you said, it's giving back to that community and giving back
Yeah.
to that school, and then the girls and boys, the children seeing you and know that they
Yeah.
definitely, that they can do it. And again, that's one of the reasons why I've started this podcast, because I love
Yeah.
it for people to hear it and say, oh, actually, here's Kala, we can hire her to go into our school or corporation and share your knowledge and share your creativity, because they are
Yeah.
really creative. And I'm just saying that I have bought two of Kalax's cushions too, as well as the wreath making. I saw the cushions actually on the day and I was like, oh my God, I don't need more cushions in my life, but I love these.
That's the vibe I'm always trying to push. Like, people are like, I don't need this. I'm like,
You do. They were beautiful. They are beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of the questions I always ask people is if they have a catalyst connection, how they got started in the business. I suppose for you, would it be the lady from the I newspaper?
The media eye. In terms of the business, she was definitely someone. Her name is Lucy. She's definitely someone that, because she said that, I was like, okay, let me just try. In terms of journalism, I feel like when I went to the 3am column and I was helping on there, one of the original 3am girls is called Eva Simpson, and she's a beautiful Black Ghanaian woman, and she's just no nonsense journalist, and she always got the story. And for me, she was like the person that was like, okay, this is what I'm seeing, this is what we can do. And yeah, I feel blessed that I was able to see such a person in action, because it showed that there's no reason why you can't do that and you don't belong in this space, which I think is very important in terms of, like, for my children. I've always, even before I had kids, I was like, one thing I want my kids to feel or to know is that they belong, as in there's no reason why they can't be in this space. It's a way of thinking. It's a way of thinking. Sometimes some of the people I've worked with in my career were younger than me. We had the same sort of experience, but it was, the way that they had been brought up, they were just brought up to believe that, why not? Why wouldn't they be able to do this? And that's the sort of mentality that I would love every person to have, because why not? Why not? Like, we belong in any space that we choose to be in, really.
That's brilliant. Thank you. And no, it's really good. No, really good. Thank you. And I suppose it comes on to the future. I know you said you're doing the workshops, you want to do more of those. Is there anything else you'd like to add for what's next for you and where you want to go, and what would be your dream project be, say?
I think for me, it's being able to have the business operate not without me, but in terms of, for me, not to be so hands-on. Like, I'd love to go into wholesale, which at the moment it would still be in small quantities, because I make everything that I sell, apart from when I have like really big events, and I'll get someone to help me sew things. I make all the lamps, I make all the lampshades, and
it really is a labour of love, isn't it?
yeah.
It's all made with love.
But then in my head, I'm like, how can the business grow if it's just me making the majority of the things? It doesn't, like, the maths doesn't go together. So in the future, I'd like to see the business grow and to operate a bit better without me being so hands-on, because when I'm working on the business, my career as a journalist, I'm not doing as much. And I think I'm at the stage now where I would like to maybe go back to part-time or even full-time work, but as in within journalism. So I feel like, yeah, I would like more of a balance. I'd like to see the business grow and be able to operate without me being so hands-on. And potentially, I can see myself just focusing on the home decor and not doing the clothing, because I do love that aspect of it.
I love your clothes though too. So
this is the thing. That's why it never happens, because it's very, it's a hard one. But I feel like, because I didn't start it thinking this is a business. So I didn't start out being like, okay, this is my business plan and this is what I'm going to do. Everything has just happened organically. So I've always done, if you look at my range, there's just so many different things that I do. So I feel like I need to bring it in and just focus a bit more on one or two things.
Yeah. I think you need to contact some wholesalers and then you get them on board. Yeah.
And that's the plan.
Yeah. Brilliant. So what would you tell your teenage self?
I think it would go back to like the spaces, just knowing that you have a place in the different spaces. I can't say, oh, don't worry, everything's going to be okay, because my life for sure has not turned out the way I thought it was going to turn out. So I think when I was younger, I thought I was going to have some easy life. My kids were going to be angels, and I was
I'm sure they are.
when they want to be. And they're not like awful, but like you have this idea of some picturesque life, and your career's just you're gonna do whatever you want to do. And so
no one gave us that book, did they? No one gave us that book.
There are going to be challenges, but I think my nature, or if I'm talking to my teenage self, keep being yourself, and you will be able to equip yourself and have the people around you to support you. And in terms of your career or the things that you want to go for it, there's no reason why you shouldn't. Even if you're the only person that looks like you in that room, you belong there.
Brilliant.
If you have the skills, you've done the same work as the person, probably male and white guy by your side, that's done exactly the same thing as you. But they have this attitude because they're like, you need to do that as well.
You need to be that.
That is what I would say. You have to believe, like truly believe that you belong in that space. And I think that will make the journey a bit easier. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great. Thank you.
So,
as I always like to end on my quick fire, fun in 5 questions.
Okay.
And you don't know what they are, but maybe you've listened to the podcast already, so you know. I need to change the questions up now, maybe. So, crisp or chocolates?
Chocolate.
Beach or forest?
Oh, beach.
No question. Reggae or soul?
Soul.
Mm-hmm. Patty or sandwich?
I would. That's actually a really hard one. I would say patty, but sometimes a good sandwich would be nice. I'm not a sandwich person in general, but there's some sandwiches that I would take over a patty.
Okay. Well, say half.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much, Kala, for joining me.
Thank you.
I really, really appreciate it. And thanks for your time, and have a good day.
Thank you.
Let me start by giving thanks. Thank you for tuning in to Creatives Like Us. I hope you enjoyed this episode and found it thought-provoking, inspiring and entertaining. If you did, it would absolutely make my day if you could share, subscribe, rate, review, wherever you get your podcast from. Also, if you have a question or a comment, I'd love to hear from you. All the ways to connect are in the notes. And until next time, keep being creative like us.